Hi guys, a very good afternoon to all of you. Finally, the much awaited date of the CMAT exam is out. We have it on the 4th, I believe. And I'm sure you're all kind of excited because now I don't know whether we are excited for the exam, but at least I'm excited that the date is out. So we, as usual from BYJU'S Exam Prep, bring to you something called as a last lap series once the exam date is announced. And as tradition goes, we have started this series even for the innovation and entrepreneurship session today. So we have two sessions. One is at, this is the first one I'm taking right now. The second session I'm going to take is at 3 o'clock today. Okay, so we're going to have two last laps over here. Please notice that these are kind of a continuation of the entire set of series I've been taking on innovation and entrepreneurship. Some parts of this will be a revision, but some parts of it are things that I could not cover till now. So it's a mixture of old and new concepts or theory to be taught. We don't have any questions for today, but right in this session, but in the 3 o'clock session, I have a lot of questions coming your way. So friends, that is what is in store for you right now and at 3 p.m. So let's go ahead and take a look at some parts of theory which is not yet covered for you. Good afternoon, Krishna. I hope you are well prepared for the exam. Excited? Right. So let's understand the basic terms once again. We are starting with invention, imitation and innovation. We already discussed this to a certain extent. In fact, I'll just ask my team to reduce my size so that the screen will be visible. Yeah. So they are doing that. In the meantime, yes. So we have three basic terms. We know what these terms are. We have seen that, but just as a refresher, let's go ahead and take a look at what are these three terms. Okay, so these three terms, first is invention. We all know the difference between invention and discovery, I hope. From childhood, we have been told what is an invention, what is a discovery. Invention is something which did not exist till now, and you made it happen. You invented or you made something which did not exist till now. All your technological machines, any of these things, these are basically called as inventions. And of course, discovery is something which already existed. You are just realizing it. That's all, nothing else. Like electromagnetism, it always existed. You just understood the theory about it. So in our parlance or in our context, invention is the very first person or company to do something which did not exist till now. Then we have something called as imitation. Imitation is also something you all know. Imitation is you are mimicking somebody, right? You are trying to copy somebody. That is also very normal. People copy in exams. People copy somebody's behavior. Sometimes people try to emulate or rather copy the good habits. But more often than not, people end up picking up the bad habits. But yeah, copying is imitation. So when somebody or a company notices what is being done by someone else and decides to emulate their actions with the aim of achieving the same results, this is called as imitation. Then what is innovation? Innovation is when someone does some improvements on an invention or imitation. Innovation it's a broad range. Innovation, we will see that there is a broad spectrum of innovation. It could be something that something which is already existing and I got a new idea to be implemented on top of it. Great, I am doing it. So something which already existed, I am putting something on top of it. That is also innovation. The other end of the spectrum is something that did not exist. I am bringing it to people. That is also innovation. So innovation has a very wide spectrum. But there's a small difference between innovation and imitation when you're talking about innovation trying to improve something. See, imitation is copying. Innovation is trying to improve something. So apart from this one difference, there's another nuance as far as the difference goes. The difference between innovation and imitation, basically what you're talking about is in innovation, you try to understand the cause and the effect. So you have a purpose in mind in innovation. So saying that, look, this is what is currently happening. Can I make it better like this? Can I make some change, some input change, which will probably give me an output change? So that is a mindset with which an innovator thinks. Imitator, on the other hand, basically says that, look, this is the result that guy is getting, I want to get the same result. This is the result that company is getting, I want to get the same result. So you're not trying to understand why that result is coming in, you're just trying to copy the result. So obviously innovation is a much better way than imitation, but yes, in my opinion, imitation also works. It is better than nothing. Imitation also works, but yeah, innovation is a step ahead of imitation, right? Moving on. So here, this is what we have, types of innovation. I said innovation is a broad spectrum, right? So we have on the y-axis, if you notice, market. Market means, the demand for something, right? And on the x-axis, it is technology. Now, if you look at the incremental innovation, what does it mean? It means you are having a market that existing, which is already existing, and you're taking a technology which is existing and you're selling this technology to this particular market. It's like, I have a cell phone which had, let's say 50 megapixel. I don't know what is the going rate right now. 50, 100, I don't know. It keeps increasing every other day. But yeah, let's say that I have a camera or a phone which has a 50 megapixel camera. People want that camera, or people want that phone. There is a market which exists and the technology that exists. I am now releasing a new product, same phone. Only thing is that 50 is becoming 60. So the target audience is the same. The technology more or less is the same. It's just a small increase. That is called as incremental innovation. So you're using the existing technology, slightly bettering it and selling it to the same set of people. Then you have something called as architectural innovation. This is interesting. Here, if you notice, the technology exists, same technology, but you are giving it to a market that did not exist, or you're taking it to a market that did not exist. This is called as architectural innovation. What is the meaning of architectural innovation? Let me give you an example. If I have a machine, yes, let's look at it. Washing machine. It's a very, very typical example. Washing machine. What is it used for, guys? What do you use washing machine for? Clearly, washing of your clothes, right? Now, if you would have seen this movie called Jab We Met, right? You have seen this movie called Jab We Met. At the very end of the movie, there is a song that comes in, and it's a Punjabi wedding they're showing of the hero and the heroine. If you've noticed, there were washing machines shown to be making lassi. Washing machines shown there where the lassi is being made inside. So I have the same technology taking to an audience. The wedding cooks were never my audience. I was selling it to people who wanted to wash their clothes. But now I also found use for my washing machine to a different, kind of people who wanted to use this huge dabba thing which will properly mix things, which is better than doing it with hand, and they're making all kinds of lassis there. Now I would like to change a small part of it because this is now supposed to be hygienic. So if I want to cater to that market, I will probably make some small change, some small design change, which will basically make sure that the product can be used into a new market which did not exist before. Such a thing is called as architectural innovation. Okay? Amazon enter in pharma is FARMA. What is FARMA? Dhirender? What's the full form of it? Is it PHR pharma? You're talking about medicines. I would not say so, Dhirendra. If it is medicines, I would not say it is architectural, because see, what is Amazon's product? Amazon's product is I can sell anything to anybody. So by their original definition itself is everybody. Okay, their original definition itself is anybody. So a person wants medicine is not different for them as a person who wants, let's say, a cell phone, because in their definition they were already in the market. It's just that the person used to go to a store earlier, now he's buying, yeah, I understood, Dhirendra. But I would probably not call it architectural, simply because that person was already in the definition of the existing people of Amazon. So I would not say Amazon is going to a new market there per se, because the vision of Amazon is I will sell everything. So when I say I will sell everything, everybody is already there with you. But yeah, you can say it's a gray area. I mean, let's not debate on that. I can always, you can always argue on it, and I will not be able to say no also, because it is strictly not, these things are very gray. You can't strictly say this is yes, this is yes. I can give you perfect examples, but not everything that people ask can be classified here or there. So I would say Amazon getting into pharma is somewhere in between. Anyway, let's move on. Then we have something called as disruptive innovation. What is disruptive innovation? Market exists, but the technology is new. The typical example, any new technology coming in to an existing market. Okay, so let's say there were feature phones. Cell phone technology did not exist. When they brought in cell phone technology, same people who wanted to use a phone, now they have what do you call touch phone. A touch phone is a new technology that didn't exist before, bringing it to the same audience who were using your Nokia or BlackBerry, those kind of mobile phones, right? So yes, that's called as disruptive innovation. And then another one is finally basically something which is called as radical innovation, which is where entire technology is new, did not exist, and the market is also new. The market did not exist. So you are inventing something. For example, you are inventing a teleportation to go from this planet to another planet. See, if I say teleportation from Earth to Earth, what would this be, guys? Teleportation to go from Earth to Earth. Where would this come? Is it architectural, incremental, or disruptive, or radical? Where would this come? Vanish here, come there. What will this be? Anyone? Yes. So teleportation is going to be disruptive. Why disruptive? Because the market exists for people to travel. People want to travel. That's the market. There is a market. People want to travel very quickly from point A to point B on Earth. And you are inventing a new technique which will help them do that. So a teleportation from Earth to Earth itself, within Earth, is going to be a disruptive innovation. But if I say I can teleport you across planets. Now, first of all, does a market exist for people who want to go from Earth today to Mars today? Does that market exist today? No, except for probably a few people like Elon Musk, who would say that I would like to die on Mars. I don't know how many of you think that you like to go there. So that market does not exist today. It's like, few people that you can count in hundreds. That is not even called a market, right? So such a thing will be then a new technology, and you are opening it up to a set of people who did not want to go there and live. Now you are saying that it is possible, we can do that very easily, so you are creating a new market. That's something as an example. So radical innovation can be AI. So radical innovation, yes, AI, again, AI used for what? Depending upon what you're going to use it for. If you're saying that AI is being used for, doing homework, probably not, because artificial intelligence is new technology, right? But the use of technology, if you're doing your homework using AI, you are using calculator or Google earlier, so that market existed. So using this technology and go to a place which did not have that market at all, a completely new market, that's basically something called as radical innovation. So radical innovations are not that common, very, very rare. Even if you're talking about invention of automobiles, it is not radical, it is still disruptive, because technology is new, but people wanted to travel, so the market exists. Okay? Anyway, let's move on. So as I said, radical innovation is very, very rare. Very, very rare. So you are basically inventing something which people did not know can exist. And because it exists, you want to use it now. That basically kind of a thing is called as a radical innovation. Okay? Right. Now, focus areas of innovation. So if you're trying to look at innovating, what are the areas that you can do this kind of an innovation? So the 6 focus areas, and this does well for you to remember the names at least, is one, product, what we produce and sell. Obviously that's where you can innovate the kind of a product. Service, see, product and service go hand in hand. Product is something that is tangible. Typically, see, even service can be called as a product. Product is something that a person uses. It could be a service, it could be something tangible. But typically here they're talking about One is the tangible part, the first one, and service is the intangible part. The hospitality that you get, what I'm giving you is also service. You can't touch the service of education, but I'm imparting knowledge, I'm sharing my knowledge. That is something which is called as a service, right? Processes, you can innovate and come up with new processes to, as somebody was saying, Kishan, you can minimize operational cost. A new innovative process can be taken up to minimize the cost, or a new innovation process can be made or taken up to reduce the time or efficiency, whatever. That is also possible. Where else? Management. So business strategies, you're talking about systems and structures. You want to manage a company, you can have a new way of aligning the roles and making sure that people work better. So that is again innovation. It can be, you can have innovation in the field of management also. Then working beyond boundaries and collaborating globally. So basically you're talking about open innovation. So the whole idea here is it's now not limited to an organization itself. Okay, so you're not talking about innovation within my organization, this is the limit anymore. You're talking about a process which can transcend just my organization. It can help the entire industry or the entire world. Much more global. And then finally, of course, creating value. So if I have some way in which I can create better value using technology. So you are using technology, but I'm trying to give you a value which did not exist before. So that can also be something called as a innovation. So innovation can happen in any of these areas. Okay? Right. We have this, or rather we have studied this innovation diffusion theory, but it's very important. That's the reason why we are going to revise this once again. So what is this innovation diffusion theory? First, it was coined by an American professor, Everett Rogers, way back in 1962. At least the name is important. You can have a straightforward question which says who came up with this idea of innovation diffusion theory. So please do remember the name. Year, if you can remember, great, but the name is at least important according to me. So according to this person, diffusion is the process by which an innovation is communicated over time among the participants in a social system. We have discussed the idea of diffusion theory in detail in one of my previous lectures. So I'm just highlighting it here. The diffusion theory talks about how a particular innovative process or innovative product is accepted within the system. And if you remember, we spoke about the different type of audience. Early, people who are trendsetters, people who are very late adapters, early adapters, and things like that. And there's a huge 5 type of people that we've discussed. If you remember it, great. If you don't, please go back and take a look at that video of mine. But yeah, that was given a lot more in detail. I spent a lot of time there. I'll not be spending that much of time today, right? It's just a revision. Okay. So what is the innovation diffusion? So basically I told you there are 5 types of people who will finally end up or deciding whether the innovation is a success or not. Who are these 5 types of people? First is called as innovators. Okay, who are these innovators? Innovators are the people who would want to try every new technology. Whether it's good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter, they'll try, and they are the people who will actually say that this is good technology, this is bad technology. The problem is they are very, very small. About 2.5–3% of the entire population is like that. Imagine how many of you would like to try something new without even knowing about it. How many of the people would always like to go to a first movie for show without knowing how the movie is? Yeah, if it's a favorite hero of yours or a favorite heroine of yours or a director of yours, you would like to go, or an Avengers is a good theme, you like to go. I understand that. But irrespective of what you know about or you don't know about the movie, you'll always want to go. Those people are very few. There are people like that. There'll be very few. Similar analogy in technology also. In technology also, there will be some people who will say that I will always try something new. But those people are very, very few, and that's about 2.5–3%. These guys will, take the technology and they will have some following, but they are not the people who will make or break the technology per se in terms of acceptance. These guys will be early signs for you. If something is still not perfect, you can correct it. Before these guys start talking negatively. Even if they start talking negatively, you have a chance to correct, because the percentage of them is very, very less. Yes, Dhirendra, like vloggers. Okay. Then we have early adopters. Now this section, about 13.5% of the people, This is the chunk of the people, again not very large, you're talking about 12-13% of the people, but this chunk, these will determine if a product is a success or a failure. These guys will determine if a product is a success or a failure in terms of innovation. So if you've come up with a new product, new innovative product, these people ultimately, if they start using it and they like it, you can call it as a success. Why? Because firstly, the percentage is quite high. Secondly, these people are like the trendsetters. They are the people whom a lot of people are trying to follow. See, typical niche bloggers or vloggers for that matter, they will have a following, but I will not follow everything that this guy does. But there are certain others whom I would consider that, okay, if this guy is using it, it means it is good, I will also use it. Those are these type of people, early adopters. Okay, so if these guys are adopting a technology, you can say that, okay, this is a success. Then it's called early majority, and that's the good 1/3 of the chunk of the population. These are typically the people who are a little bit in terms of reluctant in terms of changing, little bit only. But yeah, once this early adopters are using it, they'll feel that, okay, these guys are using it, so I can also use it. It is beneficial for me. They're not really tech averse. They like technology, just that they don't want to be the people to test it out. Somebody does it and says it's good, fine, I will also use it. So let somebody else do. Those are the kind of people. I personally fall into this early majority. I don't have the time to experience and go through new technology, the thrill of understanding something new. I'm not that kind of a person. But yeah, I am okay if somebody does that and explains to me what are the benefits, I'll immediately switch over. So that's where I come in. Okay. Then you have somebody called as late majority, and these are the people who are basically the people who know things are good, but you are averse to switch. You don't like to switch for whatever reason. Either the technology is not really, and you can't understand the technology much, or you don't want to change because it's too much of pain to change, or it is simply that you're afraid of leaving what you know and getting into something new, uncomfortable zone. Whatever. Typically, the age range of these people will be high, 40s, mid 40s, not really tech savvy. Even if you're tech savvy, there is some reason why there's a switching, it's called as a switching cost. So what is the switching cost in the management terms? Switching cost is the not really paid up cost, but it is the cost that you will incur if you go from A product to a B product. The cost could be in terms of your time. The cost could be in terms of learning experience, which is again time, or effort, because you're going to learn something new. For example, if I have to switch from, I use Windows. I've been using Windows for so many years. If I want to switch from my Windows to, let's say, a MacBook, firstly, the switching cost, direct cost actually is, it's much more costlier. I'll get a 50K, 60K laptop, and for Windows, or that is normal laptops, whereas for Mac, I will probably have to shell out probably a lakh or a lakh and a half. First of all, that itself is a cost. That's a direct cost. Apart from the direct cost, there are certain changes. Everything which is on the right side, or at least most of the things which are on the right side of Windows will be on the left side there. So it's a habit change that I have to go through. That's again some cost. It's a learning experience for me, some cost over there. So there are certain costs which will stop me from moving from this point or this product to that product. Such things are called as switching costs. So they might also have some switching costs. So this late majority may have, I'm not saying they will have. They could have switching costs because of which they don't want to go. They could be people who are who don't like technology much. So whatever technology they learned, they are continuing with it because again, who is going to learn something new again? So it's that kind of attitude and things like that. So that's again a good 1/3 of the entire population. And finally, you have laggards. Laggards are like more or less they're like, oh, I will not change. Right? More or less they are like, okay, मुझे नहीं करना है, मुझे नहीं change करना है, क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? It's only this, fine, I'll spend one extra minute in that, why should I go? Those kind of, okay? Alek Verma says, graph में radical के जगह disruptive आएगा ना, radical नीचे रहेगा. नहीं, Alek Verma, the graph is correct, nothing wrong with the graph. Anyway, let's continue. So laggards are typically the people who are the last ever to change, saying that, okay, ये technology बंद होने वाला है, then only, अच्छा, this is going to stop, so now I'll have to shift. Those kind of people. Yeah, people who don't want to go from typically iPhones. Somebody who's using iPhone 6 or iPhone 6 forever, don't want to switch to the latest iPhone, but then the iPhone company comes and says, look, we are stopping the updates for iPhone 6. Your phone is going to get hanged. And then they're like, okay, now let me go to the next series. I'm just giving you a funny example, but that's the kind of people. Okay, so these are the people where you will actually have to push them. There's nothing else. They will not do it on their own. Somehow you have to push them. They are called as laggers, and that's about 1/8 of the entire population. So this basically are the people, your target audience, who are going to use your technology, and how the technology is going to be used across the board is called as a theory of diffusion of innovation. Okay. All right, moving on. So we are now looking at a model called concerns-based adoption model. So we spoke about diffusion of innovation, how an innovation is going to be percolated throughout the industry or throughout the audience, how it's going to go through. Another theory also talks about concern-based adoption. So when you have a new idea coming in, typically an innovative idea coming in, it has to be adopted. So there are multiple theories. People came up with multiple theories about how these ideas are going to be adopted, and these theories sometimes are related to which domain you're speaking about. Okay, so we are talking about, so we are one of such models which talk about how a new idea is assimilated or is adopted into a company or by a person. That's basically called as concern-based adoption model. So this model talks about the acceptance is based on the concerns that the people have in the company or the individual has in the company. Another model talks about, okay, how, and this, so as I said, adoption of ideas, there are multiple models. So this is one model. I have another model coming up next which talks about, okay, in the tech phase, in the technology, how will that happen? So there are models which are generic, like what we have, and there are models which are very specific to a particular domain. So once this innovation theory started, people started coming up with all types of models. So some important ones is what I'm bringing across. I can't bring all the models in front of you, I hope. Akshant, I kind of missed your question. Can you please copy paste the question again, because the chart was already moved up. I can't change the chart right now from here. Okay, so what is this concern-based adoption model? The concern-based adoption model basically says that, look, an adoption will happen. You can say an idea is successfully adopted by a person or individual or a company if it addresses 3 different layers. First is self-oriented questions. So first question they will ask is personal, how will it benefit me? First question. I have particular concerns in the way in which things are today. Does this new idea help me relieve my stress or help me make my job better or personal life better? So these are all me related. It's all about me. That's the first layer. Second layer of questions is task oriented. So as a group we are supposed to do this, as a company we are supposed to do this, or this task has to be completed. So this is, you're slowly moving away from your personal headaches or your personal comforts to slowly moving towards, okay, I got Akshat's question, switching costs involved in early majority or in late majority. See, Akshat, switching costs involved everywhere. Switching costs is for anybody. Only thing is, the late majority gives more weightage to switching costs. Whereas early majority are they can easily overcome the switching cost. For example, I give you the example of technology. Go explain to a person who never used a feature phone or a cell phone, who has always been using landline, and at the age of 60, let's say somebody is at the 70 years age right now, they know how to use a receiver and speak in a proper landline. Go and explain smartphone to them. They'll say, hey, why do I need all this? If I want to watch something, I'll watch in the TV. I understand TV. If I want to make a call, I will use this. I don't want this new technology. I'm not saying everybody is like that, but typically that's one thing. So these people do not want to switch because of that. They feel that the switching cost is very high. It is same for everyone, but they will give more emphasis. Whereas others, like the early majority, they know and they're like, okay, fine, I'll go ahead and try it out, and if it works, it works. So they still have the same cost, but they will be easily able to surmount that particular cost. Akansh, is that clear? Anyway, so then we are talking about task oriented. So you're slowly now moving away from you and your personal thing to slightly more broader as a picture, saying that okay, how will this help me achieve my tasks or my group's tasks? If there are any concerns with respect to your ability to execute some tasks, will this new method help me take care of these things? If this checkpoint is done, then the third checkpoint is fine, I'm going to adopt this new technology. Finally, what is the impact of it? So if these answers are, so the first one, self-oriented and task-oriented, if the answers to both of this are yes, that yes, it will help me personally, it will help me at a company level to get my job done, to make my team better, all of that is fine, then finally you have something called as the impact. So what is that impact? Impact is finally you are assessing. So this is supposed to do all this, great. Is it actually doing it or not? Is the impact the same level that it promises after a particular point of time in which you have used it? So if I've been using it for a month, so it's like, the salesperson has promised so many things to me. I've been using it for a month. Now I'll go back and check, okay, this is what is supposed to happen. Is it happening or not? Is the impact right? Is it in the right direction? Is it worth my effort to make the change to what I'm getting? So that's basically what. So these are the three, if these three are the layers that slowly that idea that wants to get into the organization has to go through. Layer 1, layer 2, and finally if the impact is also assessed and it's found to be good, done. Your idea is there to stay in the company or in the industry or in the organization for some time. Okay, so this is a pyramid model which basically talks about first the stages of the CBA model. So what are the stages in it? First you have to tell the person, that single individual, that look, there is something that exists. That's basically called as awareness. The second thing is information. First you are giving awareness. Second thing is you are giving information about it. What is it useful for? What can it do? Things like that. Then it will answer, or you will have to take the personal questions. How will it really help this particular person? Because see, an AI's role today, if I have to define, there is no such thing that it can do a lot of things. So I will say first awareness will be, okay, such a thing exists that it can do a lot of things faster and smarter. Second thing is information. What is it? Who developed it? What all can I seek? Does it do maths? Does it do poetry? Does it do paintings? All of these information. Say third is personal. Okay, fine, all that exists. Great. Mera kya? So what? How will it help me in my context? So I have a certain need. Can this particular need or a problem be solved by this? Which is where the personal number of questions come. If I see that, okay, this particular problem can be solved using AI, great. Then comes the management. How can I master the skill and fit it all in? So now I know this can help me. How or what is it that I need to do to master that? So it's not just that currently the AI is not in a position that if I say do this, it will do. But if somebody tells me that, look boss, tumhara problem ye hai, you have this problem too. I mean, somebody is talking to me and they say that, look, I have this problem. And this problem can be solved, but you have to train the model. So you have to learn how to train it. So that is where the part comes. How can I master what it requires, what it needs to be done to solve my problem? Then is the consequence. Is it worth it? So as I said, the impact part. The next part is the impact part. So fine, I've done all that. I'm getting my answers. The answers I'm getting, are they good enough for the effort that I've put in? For example, I have actually tried the AI models to create quant questions. I have fed the model something like 20, 25 questions, 30 questions from one single small topic. And said, okay, create a new question. It did a very poor job. I did not get a good question, nor did I get correct answers. So now, I saw that it can solve my problem. Finally, when I went to the consequence part, that's where it will fall flat. I said that, okay, I spent 3 hours feeding it questions, helping it understand the solution. Then after 3 hours, I'm asking it to create one question. It didn't do that properly. So is it giving the impact that I want? No, it isn't. Okay. And then finally you have collaboration and refocusing. So collaboration is, it's working fine, but how do others do it? So I'm using it. So let's take the example in the same case of AI in my quant. So let's say it's working for me. Great. Now I am not just the person who is solving quant questions. So I'll take my personal example. In BYJU'S, I am basically the person who's handling the product of in terms of content. So I'm going to talk about entire content, which means it's not just quant. There has to be English in it, there has to be LRDI in it, there has to be GK for certain exams like your GMAT, your XLRI, as well as ZAT, that is ZAT and IIFT. You need some GK. So can now this be used in all other spaces, all other domains? And is it possible? And if possible, how are the others doing it? I'll talk to my verbal colleague who is also the head of content there, and I'll say, okay, look guys, how are you using it? Is it helpful to you? And then bringing all this together, can we release the mock faster? All that is in theory. Right now nothing is happening, by the way. But that's the whole idea, collaboration. And then finally, it's about refocusing. Is there anything else that's better? So fine, we are able to deliver mocks, great. That's one part of our job done. Can we do anything, can we use this for anything else in my purview, which is not just for what I'm doing right now? Can I make anything else out of it? Can I use this AI for anything else? So I've explained this entire stages of concern using the AI model as an example and taking creation of mock as an example. I hope you guys followed this, right? Let's move on. The next model we have is again acceptance model. Once again, how a model gets accepted or a technology gets accepted or a innovation gets accepted, but now this time we're talking specifically in the technology domain. So it's called as technology acceptance model, TAM. Okay, this was developed by Fred Davis. The technology acceptance model is an information system theory that models how users come to accept and use a technology. So this is, frankly, this is just a great name given to common sense. They made, I somehow am a bit skeptical to many of these models. They take basic commonsensical things, they put in a nice flowchart, and they'll throw it out in front of you. If you notice, this is nothing different from what we already learned. So there are external variables. Okay, external variables, basically things that are the changes you're talking about. So they will either give you a perceived usefulness or perceived ease of use. So if you want to use something new, either I should feel that it is easy to use, or I should see that it is useful to me. Perceived, not necessarily actual. Perceived means I feel. So either of these two should happen. Then only at least the first step is either I should feel it is easy, or if not easy, difficult, I can agree, provided it's really useful to me. At least I should see these two parts. These two will finally go towards or create the attitudes towards it. So if I have at least one of these two working out, I will therefore say that, okay, I would probably want to use it. So that is attitude development. That's the next stage in technology. So either it should be useful to me, or it should be easy to use, or both for that matter. If these two or one of these two at least is happening, then I will mentally prepare that, okay, let me start thinking about it or start using about it, or let me start thinking to use it. So that's the whole idea about mental attitude. I'm creating the attitude. Okay, so that's attitude towards use. Once the attitude is developed, then I will start getting into the intention to use. I'm going to use it. For what purposes am I going to use it? How long am I going to use it? How seriously am I going to use it? All that comes in. And finally, actual usage. So this is where I actually use, and actual usage, after that there's one more stage, to be very honest, and the last stage, which is very similar to what we have already seen, is fine, I've used it. It is basically corroboration. Basically the whole idea is I am actually using it. I started using this simply because I thought it is going to be useful or easy to use. Now I'll go back and check this actual usage. Is it matching with what I thought initially? Okay, is it it's back checking. Is it actually going to is it actually as easy as I thought it was, or is it as useful as I thought it was after actually using it? Okay, so this is like a recheck mechanism, and if the answer here is yes, then it means your product is a success, because it has gone through the entire phase, and finally in the final checkpoint you're saying that it's a yes. So basically it means that the technology is there to stay, people will adopt it, it will be useful to them, they will have a lot of use cases. Okay, right, so organizational practices that drive innovation. So now we are moving away from the theory of innovation to, okay, now what does a good company do, or what does a good company do to make sure that innovation happens inside the company, that the environment is conducive to innovative thoughts. Okay, like online payment, Kishan, yes, So first, use technology to collaborate and share knowledge. So obviously, the company's one of the practices should be to use technology and share it. Right? So if you're sharing technology, you're using the technology, so when you're sharing, others will start telling you the benefits of it. For example, many of my colleagues start telling me that use this is good. I said, what's so good about it? They explain things to me. So instead of my boss coming and telling me, hey, start using this, I'll be much more open if my colleague who's using it approaches me and says, look, this can make your life easier. Please start using it. That is the approach that the company should have, making people come together, use things, help each other out. Right? So it should not be like an order coming down from the top. Yes, orders will be followed, but they will not be followed with the same seriousness. Promote innovation as an organization value. Now this is something which many companies find it difficult to do. How do you promote innovation? Because there's a very, very fine line, which is where companies like Amazon, Google, Facebook or Meta today, they have tried to figure out different ways in which you can promote innovative thinking. If you do too much of it, people try to go all over the place, losing focus of what they should do, the core business. But if you don't do anything at all, then there's no innovation going to happen. So somewhere you have to draw the line, and we'll see what those companies have done to draw this line. But yeah, the whole idea of a company is it should promote. How much should it promote? To what extent it should promote? We actually have some case studies of small case study means 1 or 2 examples of what companies have done. We'll see that in the next 1 or 2 slides. Include innovation as a leadership development competency. So one of the things, so for the leaders, it's not just about managing your people. Can you also be an innovative leader or an innovative manager? So for you to be promoted going forward, can you come up with some ideas which will make everybody else's life easier? Instead of sticking to the things which are already existing, can you come up with new ideas to make things easier, and that will be taken into consideration when you're being promoted. So you are encouraging people to make life easier, not just for you, for others also. You are bringing out that thought process by force. Because if I say that I'm going to give you promotion, and this promotion will have some component attached, or rather some component of the promotion, yes or no answer will be depending upon whether you are a good person, you are a people person, people like you, your credible, your credentials, your knowledge, all that is fine. Apart from that, I'm saying that I'm going to add a small portion which says, are you a person who's coming up with some ideas to make life easier for people? That if I start putting in, then more ideas will start coming out. Similarly, we have compensation to innovation. So one is promotion, which is indirect. The other thing is direct. If I say that, okay, your salary hike, I'll give you this much of a hike if you can give me a usable idea. That's one other way of directly doing it. Fund strategic innovative partnerships. In fact, we are going to talk about this in the next 1 or 2 slides. Train for creativity. Once again, you arrange for workshops, let people know about new things which are coming up, how those things can be utilized. Instead of make sure that the entire organization is known about new technology which is coming up, or new ideas which are coming up. Instead of you wanting the people to research and find it on their own, help them understand things faster. That's one more thing you're talking about. Create a review process for innovative ideas. So once again, you should not say, okay, you go with an idea to your boss. Boss is like, oh, okay, this will not work. No, it's not a random answer. It should not be a random answer. The whole point is there should be at least a process which will logically think about it. And if still you say it's not possible, fine, you discard the idea. But the person who comes with the idea will at least have the benefit of thinking that, okay, my idea went through the process. Yes, it didn't work out this time. So at least the person will be enthusiastic to try once more. But if a single boss, a single person says that, hey, this idea will not work, without any explanation, without any rhyme or reason, then think about the demoralization that the person under you or under the boss is going to go through, because they came up thinking about something. Oh, I've come up with something new. It's like a kid comes up to you with something. You don't say that, hey, this is bad. You nicely tackle it. It's something similar as an analogy. Kushal scoring 40 in I&E. Guys, this is for 4 marks each, right? 40 marks is 40 is 10 questions correct. 10 is not really good enough, Kaushal. 4 marks per question, you're getting 40. That's basically 10 questions. 10 is not good enough. In innovation, you have to get as high as 16, 17, because if you follow what we have discussed, lot of lectures, I can assure you that 15-16 questions are possible. Last year 17 or 16 questions came from what we discussed. So it is very much possible, right? Anyway, and recruit for creative talent. Always have an eye open for people who are creative, not just with respect to what the job is, but if they have a creative bent of mind, give them a little bit of preference once in a while here and there. And reward innovation with engaging work. So fine, you have come up with some idea which is not directly impacting your business or your work, but it is helping somebody else. Great. What if I give you a side project? Will you be happy to implement your idea? Well, things like that. Okay. Right. So the success factors for innovation management, as I said, focus, company culture, that's what we discussed a lot. Resource allocation. Guys, innovation cannot happen if resources are not allocated. If you're just only talking about it but not doing anything about it with in terms of materially, then nothing is going to work out. Of course, loan startup model is very interesting. If somebody has a new idea, they'll say, okay, if I say that, fine, you have a new idea, start it. I'll give you money as a loan to your, not personal loan, but you are a part of the company. Think about you and a couple of people who are interested in the idea as a small company within a company. Let's say that the big company is loaning a small amount to you. Okay, and you are going to bring this idea to me by working on it, using the funds that I've given you, using the company resources that you can use to showcase that this can be done. So I'm okay if you do that. There you're basically saying that go ahead, try it out. If you fail, you fail, but try it out. So that's basically what you're talking about. Value creation and constant improvement. So constant improvement, there's nothing great to talk about it. Value creation. So if innovation does not create value at the end of the day, again, it's going to die down. At the end of the day, yes, you have a new tech, great, it sounds cool. What is the value add? Nothing. Does it save time? No. Does it increase efficiency? No. Does it reduce price? No. So why should I use something new then? So these are basically the success factors of innovation management. Now I said there are certain companies which have done the right way, or at least they're experimenting, try to figure out what is the right way of drawing that line and making sure that people are not completely shut out from thinking, as well as they don't go bonkers. So one such best example, or one such example, is the Google's 70-20-10 model. So what is this Google's 70-20-10 model? Google says that, look, every individual in the company spend 70% of your time on your core work. You can't leave that. That's your main reason for existence in the company. Then spend 20% of the time on projects which are not directly related to your work but indirectly related to your work. And 10% of the time that you work in the company, that entire 10% you can do whatever you want which is not even related to your job. Fine, go ahead. 90% effectively what you're saying is do things in and around what you're supposed to do. 10% figure out what else you want to do in life. It could be a personal benefit, it could be professionally benefiting you, whatever. The 10% you can spend time in trying to come up with new ideas. That's okay, fine. That's one model that Google has done. Similarly, there are other companies which have come up with other models. You look at Apple's 8 rule for innovation. Again, this is you can just take a look at it. I'm not going to go through all of them. So these are things that Apple does to make sure that the ideas are not throttled, are not choked in the company. Core business tasks. Kishan, see, if I'm a coder and I'm supposed to work on this project, so this project and this code is my core task. I'm learning a language which is not my core task, but this language might help me in my task. That is the 20%. I'm learning a completely different platform, or I'm trying to go through a completely different platform which will not even help me. That's the last 10%. Just to give you a small analogy. Right, Kishan? Right, if you look at Amazon, Amazon has a flywheel model. Basically, they say customer experience will drive traffic to the website, because Amazon is all about website. The traffic will give me more sellers, because the more people are coming to my website, more the sellers want to be there on the website. And if there are more sellers, I will be able to select the good sellers. The good sellers will give me good customer experience, and the cycle repeats. Similarly, if I have a lower cost structure, the prices will be lower. Because the prices are lower, customer experience is going to be better. And that's another cycle. So there are two cycles which are intertwined. Right? Okay, I guess these parts we have discussed, guys. The difference, we are in the last 2-3 minutes of the session today. We have some definitions once again. I think we have done this in one of the last previous series that I've taken, but I'll quickly take you through, because these I believe are important. You have to know the difference between things. IPR is intellectual property rights. These are legal rights that provides creators the protection for original work, invention, or the appearance of products. So you can't rip off somebody else's hard work. They made an invention or a movie or a book they've written. Anything which stops me from ripping them out, straight away copying and using it, they are called as intellectual property rights. There are different types. For example, intellectual property rights in terms of manufacturing will be called as a patent. Intellectual property right in terms of artwork is basically called as a copyright. If I have a script for a movie, it is going to be copyrighted. If I have a book, novel, that's going to be copyrighted. What is the meaning of copyright? No other person can steal the same idea or use the same idea. Okay, in the same way, exact same way. In terms of pharmaceutical industries, nobody can copy the molecule that I synthesized. That is again a patent. It's going to be for a certain amount of time. Trademark. Trademark is I have a logo. Nobody can copy my logo. So when it comes to that, this intellectual property right which stops me from doing it will be called as a trademark. So these are the different types. I've just thought of highlighting it. I already explained what is a patent. Patent is something which is done when there is a industrial process or a product involved. Okay, and trademark is a distinctive sign that allows consumers to identify the particular goods, like a logo or a quote or a just do it. Nobody can use just do it and the tick sign anymore, because that's the trademark of Nike. Okay, and so on and so forth. Then we have copyright. I told you when copyright is, and trade secret. No, trade secret is basically, it's the secret of a business. It's a gray area, trade secret. You can prosecute somebody for sharing the trade secret. Okay, so basically what it means is you have a particular way of running. So okay, let's take a case of trade secret. I am a trader. I trade in stocks, let's say. I have a particular algorithm which is giving me good profits. I will not share with anybody. That's my trade secret. You want to be a part of it? You give me your money, I'll invest it, I'll give you the returns after taking a cut. I will not share what is the algorithm that I'm using which is going to give you money or which is going to make money. So that's a simple example. But such algorithms are very difficult to exist in real life. Even if they exist, they will be there only for a small amount of time, and the market correction takes care of it. Anyway, let's move on. So guys, that brings me to the end of the session. So we have finished one session of the last lap right now. We have another session coming up today itself at 3 p.m. So that's the session over here. So please be there for it. I'm going to take up questions there. There are about 15-20 questions that I have there. Copyright is for intangible. Yes, Ashmita, you can say that. Okay. Trade secret of KFC. Yeah, you can talk about it. Or a secret recipe. Let's say Coca-Cola's, how do they make that? What is the percentage of syrup they put? What syrup is it? What is the composition of that? All those are trade secrets. Okay. Yeah, so these are the sessions which are coming up, guys. All these are last lap sessions. We have RC, we have geometry and mensurations, we have logical reasoning, and we have verbal reasoning. So make sure that you don't miss any of these. Here are the timings present, and these are the dates. So make sure that you give us a like on this particular video and subscribe to our channel if you are not already subscribed, because once you subscribe and click on the bell icon, you will get notification for all these videos, right? Patents typically are for tangible products, but not always tangible products, Ashmita. It could be for the process also. As I said, synthesis of a molecule, the process you undergo for chemical reactions that you take one after the other, that is a process to synthesize a molecule. So whether you call it tangible or not, that's a process. How can a process be tangible? So it's an intangible. So patents can be for intangibles also. Okay? Right, and the only 2 sessions for I&D because we don't have too much of time. The notification came pretty late and the date is very early, so we don't have too much of time in between. So we are trying to do as much as we can. Right, Anirudh? Thank you guys. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I'll see you by 3. Thank you.